Because let me tell you the danger in politics. The danger in politics is if you do not define yourself, if you don't tell people what you stand for and who you are, your opponents will do it for you. And what they will say about you almost never is true. And so it is important for us to clearly define what it means to be a conservative Republican in the 21st century. Last night I had an opportunity to be in Pasco County, where I spoke at a Reagan Day dinner. And I think one of the things that I know and admire about Ronald Reagan is that when Ronald Reagan was the president, you understood what it meant to be a conservative Republican, because he defined it in action, in word, and in deed. Ronald Reagan confronted the issues of the 1980s by applying conservative, time-tested conservative principles to the challenge of that time. And the result is that an entire generation of Americans, myself a part of it, grew up in that era, inspired by his leadership and forever shaped by the positions that he took for both our country and the world. It is not a coincidence that across the political spectrum, the Republican Party has an overabundance of people in their 40s and 50s who are conservative leaders on a national level. Scott Walker in Wisconsin, Paul Ryan in Wisconsin, Ted Cruz from Texas, Rand Paul from Kentucky, Mike Lee from Utah, and others. It is not a coincidence because we all have one thing in common. We grew up with Ronald Reagan in the White House. Now, we live in a different era where the challenges, although somewhat similar, are different. That doesn't mean we have to change our principles. Our principles still work. What it means is that those principles need to be applied to the challenges of this new century, to a world that looks different from 1980. That doesn't mean you abandon your principles. That means you apply them. You apply them to the challenges of the time in which you live. And the challenge that we have as Republicans is to apply those principles in a way that speaks to the lives of real people, that lets them understand what it means to be a conservative and what it means to be a Republican. And it should mean a lot of different things. But I want to focus on three tonight that I think are very important. The first is, when people think of Republicans, they should think of us as the party of upward mobility. Not the party just of people who have made it. We have nothing against people who have made it. If you are successful economically, if you are successful professionally, we celebrate it. We hold you up as an example and an inspiration. But for the most part, if you have made it, all you want government to do is basically leave you alone so you can continue to make it and help others make it too. But we're also the party of people that are trying to make it. And our argument is, look around the world. Look at places where the government dominates the economy. Look at places where the government does the kinds of things that this president and the Democratic Party and the left wants our government to do, or in fact are trying to make our government do. And what you will find is stagnant economies. You look around the world at places where government dominates the economy, and you will find stagnant economies where the same people keep winning and everybody else is stuck working for them forever. You will find places where your future is determined on the day you are born. You can only be what your parents were. You can only go as far as your family went before you. You are limited by the circumstances of your birth. That is a fact. In fact, that is the rule, not the exception in human history. But America has been different. Because here, we embraced free enterprise and limited government. And because we did it, we have achieved a level of upward mobility unequaled, unparalleled in the history of all mankind. And so tonight, as we examine what it means to be a Republican, let me tell you what it means. It means we celebrate those who have succeeded and want them to continue to succeed. But we are the party of people who today are workers but one day want to be owners. We are the party of employees that one day aspire to be employers. We are the party of people that want to start businesses out of the spare bedroom of their home. Yes, in violation of the zoning code, but we are their party. We are the party of people that with a laptop and the empty table at a Starbucks just started America's newest business. And one day will employ 20, 30, 40, and 50 people. We are the party of the young people that are working here tonight serving us, who are working here so they can pay their way through college or provide for their families at home, who one day aspire to be something more than what they are today. We are that party too. And our policies reflect that necessity and that reality. And so when we talk about being against higher taxes, it's not because we want to help people have to pay less taxes for the sake of it. It's because we understand that every penny that goes to the government in taxes is money that's not available to circulate in the private economy. When we talk about getting a hold of regulations, it's not because we want the air to be dirty or the water to be unclean. I love water. It's because we understand that if regulations get too expensive, the big companies might be able to comply, but not the guy or gal starting a business out of the spare bedroom of their home. It's the reason why we want to repeal Obamacare. Because if you're a big corporation with a massive human resources department, you may not like Obamacare, but you can afford to deal with it. You can hire the best law firm, you can hire the best lawyers, you can hire the best accountants, and ultimately they will help you figure it out, and you will do what you need to stay in business. But what about the small businessman or woman? What about the paving company I met in Miami? They don't even realize that Obamacare is around the corner. They have no idea that their 55-person company is on the verge of a devastating development. They have no idea the costs that lie ahead. What about the seniors, who this October will get a letter informing them of the benefits they are losing under Medicare Advantage because the money is being taken out and used to pay for something else in Obamacare? What about them? These are the consequences of this program. Do we have a health insurance problem in America? We do. But this is not the way to solve it.
Oh, right.
The way to solve it is to give every single American the opportunity to buy the health plan that they want at a price they can afford from any company that will sell it to them, no matter what state that they're in. That's the solution to the problem.